Jennifer, my wife, and I started Edgar for our son Nathan, who has autism and is also moderately retarded. There is no place in Boston that he could go to for a Jewish education.
JSEC began when a group of parents and concerned professionals got together in somebody's living room about 5 years ago to discuss the problem of kids in day schools who were not mainstream learners. With Sue Schweber and other talented professionals, we created the Jewish Special Education Collaborative.
These two separate organizations were created to give kids with learning and other disabilities the chance to participate fully in their Jewish community.
So by giving these kids a Jewish education, they're participants in their family, they're participants in the synagogue. That's big.
Now these organizations have merged as gateways, combining their strengths and extending their reach.
The merger of Edgar Lenoir and JSEC into Gateways was in many ways a natural progression. Edgar Lenoir had started with a focus on children with more severe disabilities in a supplemental setting, whereas JSEC had started with children with milder learning needs who were in a day school setting. But both organizations had a similar purpose, to make sure that every child had access to a Jewish education.
To fully understand what Gateways will accomplish, you need to see what Edgar Lenoir and JSEC have already achieved.
The goals of Edgar Lenoir are to provide a Jewish education for students with moderate to severe disabilities who are unable to be served in their congregational or community Hebrew schools.
It's just too hard for families to really fulfill their Jewish aspirations when one of them is, or two of them, is just locked out of that because they can't get the kind of education they need.
In Edgar Lenoir, we teach the children about Jewish holidays and Shabbat, about Hebrew, about Jewish values and customs. And we do it in a way that is geared towards children with a diverse learning style. We use art, we use music, we use movement, we use drama. All techniques that work very well with children with a range of learning styles.
Good job, everyone.
Edgar is also proud of its teen volunteer program. More than 50 teenagers from Jewish and public schools work with the students in the Sunday program. Adult tutors volunteer in the B'nai Mitzvah program.
I decided to become a tutor because I wanted to get the experience of working with children with special needs and definitely to give back to the community that I feel that I'm part of.
The Jewish Special Education Collaborative provides students with specialized educational services and programs so they can succeed and remain in the Jewish day school. Coaching and consulting with classroom teachers are important parts of this process.
The JSEC program is set up so that we bring in specialists above and beyond what the school already has. So we'll bring in a speech-language pathologist, an occupational therapist, a learning specialist, a physical therapist to augment the services that the school already has.
JSEC professionals help the child participate and succeed in the daily academic, non-academic, and social times of school. Through a wide variety of activities, they help the child develop the skills and strategies that will help them learn, work with others, and be independent. And in some cases, instructional assistants support students who have more significant learning issues.
The most important things that the therapists do for the child is they both remediate the child's weakness and they support the child's curriculum.
As a day school parent, Nancy knew that the availability of JSEC services meant that she did not have to place her son in a different school, away from his siblings.
Not only would that have been heartbreaking for him and for us to not give him what we so believe is so important, a Jewish education in a Jewish day school, but the idea of pulling him away from his siblings would have been very painful for all of us.
Many other parents acknowledge that these two organizations have changed the lives of their families.
It's very hard to reach a child who has disabilities as complex as those of my child. And for Edgar, it was not a problem. They reached my child immediately, and over the course of time, were able to teach him everything that I had wanted him to learn. We wanted for Ben to do two things when we enrolled him at Edgar. And the first was to learn the fundamentals, the practices, the language, the geography, the choreography. I've seen and been delighted by changes in Ben. He was able to reach beyond what we had ever hoped that he would do.
Your praise, our God, shall never depart from our lips. Blessed is the Lord, the Holy God.
With one of our children, we struggled with the process of transferring from Sharon Public Schools into a mainstream Jewish education. JSEC provided immense assistance in both easing the transition as well as determining what the right time was and helping us interface with the Sharon Public Schools to make that happen. In watching the progress that our children have made over the past couple of years in working with JSEC, we feel not only proud of our children's achievements, but greatly appreciative of the role that JSEC has played in getting them there.
Our daughter Sarah will be bat mitzvahed this year. She has cerebral palsy, and we never thought she would be bat mitzvahed. We are overjoyed that this will happen, and because of Edgar Lenoir, it will happen.
Our son was diagnosed with language learning disorder. After first grade, he was having a terrible time learning to read, and we were advised that we would have to take him out to a speech therapist for individual attention, which meant taking him out of school, or take him to a public school, and we wanted him to remain in his Jewish community day school where he attends. We went from a place of despondence and despair and not knowing what to expect of our son, and it has given us such encouragement, they've given us such support, that it has just helped us tremendously.
The parents in our school are really thrilled that we work with JSEC. They appreciate it more than they could say in words when they see how a child learns, how a child's successful, and that a child can stay in our school and graduate with his or her peers.
The teachers themselves appreciate what JSEC offers them.
The teachers in our school feel like they've become better teachers because of their work with JSEC. They've learned new strategies in the classroom that have helped them be better teachers for every student.
The teachers are very excited because they understand more about their own teaching, more about themselves, and more about what they should be doing to help their students.
I've said to a teacher, tell me how you learn this strategy. And they say, I wouldn't be able to do this if I hadn't worked with somebody from JSEC.
The special value we bring is to work with the teacher and allow the child to be included in the classroom as much time as possible.
The Edgar Lenoir and Jewish Special Education Collaborative programs serve children with a wide range of disabilities and of all Jewish affiliations.
The merger between Edgar Lenoir and JSEC made perfect sense. Each program really had the same goal, to provide Jewish education to all of our children.
It's a community effort, and it should have one big community organization taking that on and directing it.
The future of Gateways promises more opportunity for kids, more hope for their families.
My vision for Gateways is that it will provide Jewish education, whether it be in a day school setting or in secondary school setting, for all children who desire a Jewish education.
My hope for Gateways in the future is that should a parent find themselves in the same position that Jennifer, my wife, and I did, that they can pick up the phone and make one phone call. And with that one phone call, they can guarantee their child will get an appropriate Jewish education.
My vision for Gateways is that we will provide access to Jewish education for all children, regardless of their abilities or their disabilities.
The creation of Gateways is about the most important thing that's happened in Jewish education in Boston over the last 19 years that I've been here. It's an opportunity to give all of our kids a Jewish education. There's really nothing more important than an educated Jewish future for all.